Okay, wonderful. We already have some people signing out. Welcome, Sharon. Welcome, Heather. Welcome, Marilyn. Wow, UK, Sydney. Wonderful. We have Sandy from Virginia. I'm so happy to see you all. And the comments that keep coming in. So this is it. We are online. We are all connected. And once again, I'm very happy to see you all virtually. That is, and let me just highlight one thing that being together, it's one of the most important things of this webinar, and not just me talking and basically communicating with you, but basically the fact that you are here together. And we can officially, I'm just looking at the feed right here, and people are still coming. So, oh, welcome, Julianne from China, and Heather Hillman. Oh, Heather Hillman from Victoria for Warrnambool. Beautiful. This is really special how internet connect us all. So please let me know if you can all hear me, because this is the most important thing. If you cannot hear me, then obviously that would be terrible. You just me talking head with mouth moving. So perhaps a comment or two whether the sound quality and the video is okay. Okay, we have confirmation. So let this show get on the road. Once again, welcome everyone to this webinar, which title of is How to Worry Less and Experience More Joy. And that's exactly what we'll be not only talking about, what we'll be doing. I want to give you a first-hand experience of how to actually feel good, and how what science has to say about all those things. So we are going to start, as we always do, with a meditation, because meditation, it's a wonderful, wonderful way of setting up a stage for what we about to do. This webinar is going to go for about an hour. I'll give some time for Q&A at the end, and let's see how it goes. But having said that, let us begin with a short meditation to set intention for this time we are going to spend together. So I ask you to make yourself at ease. If you're sitting, and obviously you are sitting, sit upright with your back straight but not rigid. Allow your feet rest on the floor, give you support. Rest your hands in your lap and allow your eyes to close. And start tuning in into the space around you. Feel sensations in your body. Feel how you are truly yourself. And before we do anything else, set an intention for this time we are going to spend together. What is that you want to get out of this webinar? What is that you want to achieve? And most importantly, what kind of state of being you wish to support? So let us now plant the seed of this intention and let it be there. And without any expectations, let us see what is going to come out of it. So now start tuning into your breath. Now let's take a couple of deeper breaths together, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth together. In. Put your chest forward and out. In and out. In and out. Breathe normally and relax. And as your breath settles in, once again, allow yourself to feel the sensations in your body. Allow yourself to feel the ease that all external stimuli comes to your awareness. Setting up the stage for this event. Tuning in, settling down. Together, all of us from across the world, connecting through internet. And in the spirit of togetherness, let us take one more deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. That was really, really pleasant. Okay. Welcome to Sandy and to her mom. Okay. So let us start. I will now switch to my presentations, and I will be basically oscillating between me talking and I'll be talking all the time, me and my presentation I prepared for you. But once again, I want to highlight the fact that this is really unprecedented, that through the technology, we can be connected all across the world and experience this togetherness. So a few words about myself to start off with. So as you can see, the webinar is called How to Worry Less and Experience More Joy. And to start off with, I'd like you to, this is the meditation part we just did. And I think this is the intention behind this experience, to keep your mind open, at the same time have a peaceful heart. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Everything that I'll be talking about will be leading towards those two things, because out of open mind and peaceful heart feels or flows that freedom that is so important for us on everyday basis. And this is me. Those of you who are familiar with me from Inside Timer, that's the picture I have there. So yeah, this is me without a hat and looking a bit differently. First of all, I'm a scientist. I've been working at different universities across the world for most of my career, and I use the scientific training and scientific language to communicate with you. Various things, as you know, from my meditations from things I've been publishing. Second of all, I'm a teacher. I discovered that some time ago that my vocation is that of an educator. and I concentrate my effort into passing various wisdom through the perspective of science to you, so you can experience joy of living. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. We all walk different, we have all different paths and come from different walks of life, but we are connected through this one truth, trying to enjoy this existence. Also, I'm an author. Hopefully, some of you have read some of my publications across the web. And that's the another form I connect with my listeners, with my clients, with all of you. Also, I'm a facilitator of both live and online events. You are part of an online event, but some of you actually, judging by those of you who just tuned in, also met me in person, which is absolutely wonderful. Last but not least, I'm a founder of Synergy Lab Sydney, a company I started a couple of years ago to facilitate a paradigm shift in thinking and in being. What it means is that I invite you all to co-create space and co-create the world as a happy place to live. We experience a lot of stress these days. Our planet is under a lot of stress. Our environment is under a lot of stress. And bringing that awareness through scientific means it's very important that not only me through talking, but also you through your being show support to our planet, to our environment, and recognize that we are all in this together, not only as humans, human beings, separate from our natural environment, but our natural environment supporting our being and being an integral part of this all. So now let's get to the roadmap. What are we going to do today? And I see it as a guide to happier self. We are going to start. I will ask you a couple of questions. I will ask you a couple of questions related to your belief systems, and I show you how a lot of stories that we're telling ourselves are actually not true. That actually flows from something what I call a human nature. Human nature, which is what we are, consciousness inhabiting this human body, and the consequences of it, and why we should not worry as much as we do, because as a consequences of that. And at the end, I will try to wrap this all up in the most important thing: how out of those two aspects flows our awareness, and how out of awareness flows our choice, which is at the end of the day the most important part of it all. Okay, so I will read to you, you should see it on your screen right now. I will read to you a couple of statements that hopefully will resonate with you, and you tell me if how it feels. So statement number one: external circumstances control my life and are responsible for my unhappiness. Life is full of sorrow and suffering. I'm helpless because of my personality. I am a victim of my upbringing and my past. People are basically bad, and they out to get me. Money is evil. People who have them are greedy and less spiritual. I'm not creative, and I have no imagination. People dislike me. I'll always have a bad luck. I'm sorry. This is one of the most common belief systems that guide us through our life. And I'm sure that some of you or all of you resonate with them as the same way as I used to, or to some extent I still do. Um, the stories that we're telling ourselves are based on our upbringing, are based on what we do as a profession, and they have impact on our life. And quite frankly, they are a reason for most of our worries. Why is that? Well, because even if you meditate and you try to be a good person, but you hold the belief that external circumstances control all of your life, then you will make two steps forward and there'll be always one step back. There'll be that belief, that story that you're telling yourself in your head that will always take you back. And again, this is just an example of those common belief systems that we, to some extent, all identify ourselves with. And that leads to a lot of suffering, right? To give you another example of false belief systems that I'm sure that no longer you identify with, but were so prominent in the past. Women have less right than a man. Something that now comes to the past, but only a couple of decades ago were one of the most dominant beliefs. And very few people were ready to challenge such a belief. So now imagine yourself that you meditate every day and you raise in consciousness, but you hold such a belief that women somehow are inferior to men. How does it make you act? Even if you act mindfully, where does the action come from? So, what I'm pointing at is that all those stories are not necessarily us. And our most important task in order to be less worried is to recognize those belief systems that our life is being guided through. Another example of a belief system is slavery. Not so long ago, slavery was accepted and was believed to be absolutely natural. And although today, I'm sure none of you, not a single of you who are listening to this webinar, subscribe to such a belief. Only 100 years ago or 200 years ago, that would be absolutely normal. So if you tell yourself a story like that, what are the actions that will flow through it? And to give you, actually, we're thinking that that slavery is all gone, but the truth is, according to the recent statistics of the World Health Organizations, right here in this time of the history, there are more real slaves than any other time in the human history. So although I'm sure that this belief is absolutely ridiculous to you, this is something that is still happening in the world as we speak. So the story that you're telling yourself in your head, most likely unconsciously, very much influences your behavior. So now think about it. What kind of story you are telling yourself in your head? And what actions flow out of those stories? Now, something I'd like to mention related to the stories we are telling yourself is that a lot of those stories we are not aware of because we are so identified with them. We think that this is part of us. And indeed, many of those stories are part of our biological software. You may say they are us. This is simply a human nature. We evolved as a Homo sapiens, as a species, not necessarily to be happy and to achieve things in life. Your body evolved over the past couple of million years to do three things. First thing, to survive. Survival is the most and number one priority of your biological software. Keep you safe. Second of all, to reproduce, to have sex, and to spread your genes across the planet and become the dominant species we are here right now. And that's what you experience. That's what your body tells you on a moment-to-moment basis. Two, first of all, to keep your survival. Second of all, to reproduce. And third of all, to keep safe. Survival, sex, and safety. Three major objectives of your operational system. Daniel Goleman puts it wonderfully in this one sentence. We live in the time when we praise the brain as this incredible machine that produces consciousness. But brain is a very sophisticated instrument of survival. Your brain did not evolve to feel love, to feel happiness, to feel appreciation. Your brain evolved to keep you all those three things: to survive, to reproduce, and to keep you safe. And if you don't recognize that simple dynamic that it happens, many of the stories that you so identified with will point you always towards that. So now I'd like you to examine all those stories that you're telling yourself, the inner narrative that you follow in your head. Who is talking? Is that really you? Have you decided at some point of your day that you want to feel, that you want to worry, or you want to feel miserable? So what I'm pointing to is that we are so identified with everything that we think of that at the end of the day, we worry about things that are simply only a belief systems. They are not us. And this is one of the biggest realizations you can make for you to start worrying less. Because if, for instance, you were born 50 years ago, your belief systems would be most likely very different. And in the next 10 or 20 years, your belief systems belief systems that most of society subscribe to will be different too. So you are not your beliefs. You are not even your thoughts. And you are not your emotions. And one of the most important tasks for us here on Earth is to recognize that simple fact. That whatever we're coming through, our biological software and our nature is not us. All the thoughts that come to your head, they are not you. And if you recognize that, you all of a sudden, you come to have a choice. You have a choice to decide whether listen to the internal dialogue and identify yourself with thoughts and emotions, or make choices that actually support your well-being. Because if you listen to the voice in your head constantly, this voice will most likely tell you those three stories: how to survive, how to protect yourself, and will throw at you those desires that want you to find a mate, want you to put food in your belly, and want you to just feel comfortable all the time. And all of a sudden, if you start following those stories that are produced by your brain, right? Remember, the brain is a very sophisticated instrument of survival. All of a sudden, you may realize that you're missing the point. That the stories that you're listening to make you very, very miserable. Because those stories that are again produced by your brain are not interested in your happiness. So now, how to create a different story for yourself, or how to recognize what story you want to listen to? Well, that's where the third part comes to play. And Viktor Frankl puts it in the most beautiful quote I've ever heard. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl, most of all, was a scientist, psychiatrist, but also a Holocaust survivor. Where I come from, there are still concentration camps. As a reminder, concentration camps from the Second World War, as a reminder that humanity is capable of such atrocities. And those words come from a person who survived all that. Between stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in that response lies our growth and our freedom. If you choose, or if you decide to, we never decide that, but if you allow the story in your head, those unconscious thoughts, to guide your actions, you will always go towards worry, towards unhappiness, and towards suffering. Meditation, in the first place, is not to give you another moment of relaxation. It's not to support your instant gratification monkey that always says, well, I want to feel good. Meditation is responsible for raising your awareness so you can be responsible for your choices. One of the most important research in the past time comes from the Harvard University. And those researchers clearly indicate that 47% of the time, we are not aware what we are doing. Then you might think, what do you mean? I live, I walk, I do this, I do that. Let me ask you this. Do you circulate your blood? Do you digest your food? So how is that make you aware? Many things that happen, thanks to our wonderful body, are happening because of our so-called default system that controls subconsciously all those processes. Otherwise, we could not function properly. I'm not responsible for moving my mouth. I'm not responsible for my words. As a matter of fact, I'm not even aware what's going to be the end of my next sentence. So the only thing I can do is to bring my awareness towards all those actions. And that what Purpose of meditation is to bring your awareness to the present moment, to expand that space between everything that comes to you and your actions, so you can make a conscious choice whether to say, listen to your thoughts and be worried, or make different choice. And that choice is our awareness, is our growth, and is our freedom. And without that choice, we are not aware. So we are being called a conscious beings, but quite frankly, most of the time we are not. And I can tell you from my own life that this happens more often than I want to. I'm being encapsulated in my thoughts constantly. And then the moment comes, where was I? What was I thinking? And even more importantly, who was thinking that? Have I decided to think about, I don't know, the fight I had with my boss, or an argument I had with my spouse? Or have I decided to actually feel good, be worry free? So, in order to experience more joy in your life, you have to being aware of what is happening around you and get out of your head and get out of the autopilot. And that's the objective of every meditation practice. Whether you focus on your breath, whether you focus on some external object or mantra, or whether I guide you through some nice visualization, the purpose of that is to bring you to the present moment so you can decide, you can choose what you believe in. Because if the alternative is being unconscious and run on autopilot, and we all know where that takes us, will take us to worry more, to be afraid, to be run by fear. So our actions are fear-based, not love-based. So everything that I invite you to in this webinar is to be more aware. And research clearly shows that it doesn't matter what are you being aware of in order to be happy. We sometimes think that we need to go to have a fancy holiday, to, I don't know, climb a mountaintops in order to experience joy. But the truth is that the joy is right here, right now. And we produce those hormones, all those chemicals that support our well-being right here, right now. And if you let yourself be run by the story in your head, the effect will be most likely the worry and the unpleasantness that you experience. Present moment is your point of power, your entrance to all the joy. And you may be brushing your teeth and be completely present of that, and you'll be enjoying that moment tremendously. Because if that's your state of being, that's the most important part. We frequently connect ourselves, identify ourselves with what we do. And one of the most important stories and false stories that we're telling ourselves is that what we do is who we are. But we are not human doings, we are human beings. It's our state of being that matters. And as Eckhart Tolle said, after he had this amazing awakening, he said that sitting in my room, one bed sitter, with just a stove in the corner and bed, he couldn't be more happy, because all of the sudden he started experiencing all those things in a different way. The actions or the circumstances, external circumstances, become secondary. Whereas for most of us, the external circumstances are primary, because that's the story we are telling ourselves. That I will be happy if I get a bigger house, if I get more stuff, if more people will like me. But the truth is that our happiness and our happiness cannot be done by doing, but only by being. And now, so this is basically leads to one important thing: how to put ourselves into better state of being. This is the question that you are asking yourself. And we all here, being meditators, know that by meditating, by such a simple thing as focusing your awareness on your breath, you can experience joy and fulfillment that is sometimes difficult to experience doing anything else. So what I invite you to is to have a first-hand experience of the joy and happiness. Because I cannot tell you what to believe in. Quite frankly, I cannot change your belief systems. You are the only one who can do it. Imagine yourself, me telling you that vanilla ice cream is the best ice cream in the world. What would you say? Well, maybe for you. Because that's my belief. That's what I experience. But that does not mean that this is true for you. And that simple example represents so many different things. We all come from different backgrounds, telling ourselves different stories. And those stories very frequently guide our life. So in order to get out of those stories and start changing your belief systems, you have to bring awareness to every moment of your life. And I tell you, this is not an easy thing. Because the second, even during meditation, you try to do it, you try to focus on your breath, and 2-3 breaths in, your mind wanders. Because mind, or your brain, it's a very powerful and very sophisticated instrument, right? That has ability of attaching or taking your attention to all those elements that we described, to make you feel safe, to follow your desires, but not necessarily to be happy. So that's why I created this program called 6 Pillars of Well-Being. Hopefully you can see it now. That is designed to not only put you in the right state of being, but to encourage you that this state of being can be expressed in various aspects of your life. It's not just meditation cushion where you can be aware, where you can be human being. Every aspect of your life, as you can see on this slide, can incorporate aspects of mindfulness. I devise program that is based on 6 pillars, and on those 6 pillars is based your well-being. Those 6 pillars are built to support your well-being, and some of them are pretty obvious. It's nothing new. There's a physical aspect, which is movement, nutrition, and sleep, and also mental aspect, which encapsulate awareness, your interpersonal interactions, your relationships, and your growth. That sometimes means career, but not necessarily. It's more about what is your direction, what is your plan, how you want to direct your awareness. And this program is specifically designed to incorporate mindfulness in certain ways to make sure that you spend more time in the present moment. And by that, as science shows, experience more joy and more fulfillment. Because it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you are fully present and aware of those actions. So, this webinar I designed in order to introduce you to certain aspects of your life that you're already doing and bring more awareness into those things. And I'm sure there are some of you that already have figured out how to do many of those things. Perhaps you already do exercises. Perhaps you already covered very well the physical aspect of your being. You eat well, you use your body correctly, you sleep well. Perhaps some of you are already meditating a lot and bring awareness and are very good at it. But the purpose of this program is to show you how to incorporate that's what you do on a meditation cushion to all of the aspects of your life. So you feel, so you experience, you fulfilled not only in the meditation space, but most importantly, outside of it. How to bring mindfulness into your relationships with your spouse, with your kids, with your parents. How to incorporate mindfulness in job that you are doing. How to be mindful of your interaction with your colleagues. For those of you who experience a lot of stress in your life, sleep would be a valuable indication of it. Most importantly, with the clients I work, I ask them one question: how do you sleep? And if they say, oh, my sleep is no so great, perhaps I have problem falling asleep, or I wake up in the middle of the night and I cannot fall asleep. That's that's an indication to me that perhaps some of other aspects of those you see on the screen, movement awareness, relationships and growth, or nutrition, are out of line. And to be aware of all of those, it's a very important thing to make a complete package, to take your well-being not only as a result of your meditation practice or your relationship with your spouse, but all of those things, and how you treat your body and your mind. So as you can see, the top level, this is all the physical aspects, movement, nutrition, and sleep. And all the bottom is the mental aspect, awareness, which is the glue that holds it all, our relationship with people around us, and our personal growth. Okay, so this is the first out of the series of the webinars I'll be talking about. And perhaps now it's time for you to ask me some questions because for many of you, this is the first time that you can see me live. So I'd like you to give you a couple of minutes to ask those questions. So please shoot off. I just check my platform and I will wait for your questions. So in order to ask me a question, just type it in the comment section. That's the way of doing it. I'm sorry if I didn't mention it. Okay, Marilyn asks me to bring up the Frankel's quote once again, which I believe is one of the most inspirational quotes I've ever heard. So it goes like that: between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And once again, I want to bring your attention to the space that Frank's talk about. So we frequently act without realizing where those actions are coming from. And if we don't realize, if we are not aware of where the actions, where our reactions are coming from, they usually are being produced, they automatic and coming from those three aspects we already mentioned: our survival, our ability to, well, our desire to find a mate and to reproduce or to keep ours safe. So only through bringing awareness or expanding that space through being present and through mindfulness, through practicing meditation, we increase our ability to make choices that takes us out of the survival mode and bring us into something that we are designed to do, to experience freedom and growth and love and happiness and fulfillment and all those things that we actually craving for. Do we have more questions? Okay, so if there's no more questions, I'd like to thank you all for coming together and listening to and participating in this webinar. And once again, before we finish, I'd like us to take a moment and recognize uh, presence, our togetherness in this event. Although it happens online, we are all connected on the levels we perhaps cannot comprehend. So I'll ask you to once again close your eyes. Bring to your mind all the people that just participated in this event. Tune in into your breath. Put your left hand on your belly, right hand on your chest. And with gratitude, make a gentle bow in acknowledgement of our presence right here, right now. Okay, thank you very much for participating. I'm very happy that you could join me today. And I hope to see you again during the next out of the series of webinar. Tomek, signing off.